Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Guys, what a fantastic year 2025 has been. This has been a trader's dream with the volatile markets, the steep sell-offs, the W or V-shaped recoveries we get, and I don't think the market's done. I think we have more upside. I expect the S&P to enjoy this Santa squeeze rally, squeezing out the shorts, pushing towards 7,500 towards the end of the year, first week or so of January. That's what it did in 2021, 2022. And then we'll be looking at potentially a big top and a strong retracement in 2026. But this is rally time. We have a lot to go over here. This is the market video. The crypto video will be out after this. I want to cover the major indices, the Russell, the overbought 8, as well as maybe throw a meme stock on here like Hood. But let's talk about what's going on in the market, because right now what you have happening is the Senate finally passed their test vote, meaning 8 Democrats came over to the Republican side to vote to reopen the government, okay? Bullish catalyst. Now, I think today they're going to have the real vote in the Senate. Then it goes down to the House. That's probably going to be along party lines. The Republicans are going to pass it. And then by the end of the week, we should see officially the government reopen. The big thing is we'll start getting the job reports that have been missed. The September report may have already been drafted, so that should be coming out. And we'll start seeing this data, and then you'll see how effectively the market will price in the next basis cut, the next rate cut here in December, because prior to Powell doing that hawkish cut, the market had a 95% chance of a December cut. Now it's down to like 62%. If we see weaker job numbers, you're going to see that number spike up again. Again, another bullish catalyst for the market, not to mention the most bullish time of the year. Let's go over some key indicators real quick. Fear and greed. We got all the way down to 20 here in extreme fear. You're now still in fear at 29. Again, a bullish catalyst. Overall, equity managers have underperformed, one of their worst years in 30 years in the stock market, to the S&P. So this is something I expect performance chasing as well towards the end of the year. We had the VIX spike again, obviously. Now we're trading at 18. And let's take this back to ES. Because understand, here in the stock market, guys, there's been 6 times since 1928. Just 6 times where we've had the market up strongly 6 months in a row. 5 of those 6 times, it finished the year out strong, meaning November will be strong, December will be strong. 5 is 6 times, 5-to-1 odds, 83% chance. Remember, what's trading about? Trading's about high probability trades. In the end, all of this is gambling, but you're looking at high probability trades. And as you guys know watching this channel, I tend to side with market history. So let's look at the S&P. What are some key things here? First thing is, back when we're up at the top here, I said if we retrace, we're going to do a pullback. Pullbacks are 3 to 5%. Keep in mind, this is S&P futures, moves around a little bit more in the cash market, but you got 4.29%, okay? Right into the box, reversing back up. This is a key movement here in the markets, because when we look at the markets, we can take a fib here from the top, pull it down to that low. You're almost at this 618, 68.39. You're at 68.30. This will be important to flip, because typically the way markets recover, you're going to get some type of W pattern, okay? So you find resistance, 618, 786. You pull back for, say, a higher low. Then you come back up. There's your midpoint resistance, and then you break out to the upside. You can say, well, how often does that happen, Brendan? Well, it happens all the time. That's literally how you recovered on the last pullback, but also going back to the April lows, you literally recovered in a W pattern. People call this a V bottom. It wasn't a V bottom. It was a W fractal. You have your wave down, wave up, higher low, breakout, okay? W fractals. Guys, you can learn this education in my education series right there at the join button on YouTube or at our website, marketmakers.trade. And by the way, this channel is not monetized, as many of you know. My X is not monetized. If you guys want to support the channel, check out SimpleFX, because you can trade everything on SimpleFX. Stocks, cryptos, Forex, commodities, everything is there. If you live outside the US, you can also get up to a $5,000 instant first-time deposit bonus. Use my link. It helps support the channel. I would appreciate it if you like this information. So looking back at ES. 618 is going to be key to flip, 68.39. So that's what you want to watch right now. Overall, guys, let's just look at this. So we came right down to the box we expected. Let's look at our trend. How intact is the trend? Let's just get rid of some of these lines. Well, let's just throw a trend indicator on there. A lot of people like moving averages. I like RMAs. And look at the 18 RMA. Look at this. Right there, test it. Right there, test it. Right over here, test it multiple times. And of course, the 18 RMA, test it once again. Got a wick below it, strong buyback, back up above it. 18 RMA has been intact now all the way since April. The April breakout from the W fractal, right? You lose the 18, you go bearish potentially, and here you've been testing it, going back to bullish. Now, where the actual topping process, if this was to fail, let's just examine this. What would this look like, right? Because if this was to fail, for whatever reason, it's just going to be an M top. So you come up to 618, 786, you start failing, something like this, and then you start coming back down. If you take out that low that you just recently made, this would be bearish, right? So you got to mark that low, 66.55. And of course, you have your low back here from October. So that would be a failure to break out, right? But I fully expect a pullback because this is how price moves. The problem is most people who look at patterns, and I'm a pattern trader, don't understand price movements, right? Price moves like this. This is how price moves. In a sell-off, you get a wave down, and then you get a rebound. And then you get another push back down to retest this low. If you hold the higher low and you get your push back up, buyers are in control. This is literally why this pattern is so important, the W fractal, because it's a highly tradable pattern. So right now, I'm expecting cyclically the Santa squeeze, the Santa rally to take effect and see prices push higher. But the interim choppy price movements here, the volatile price movements, can look anything like this, right? You can come back down, find resistance again, and then get a breakout. All this choppiness depends, and of course you can form different patterns like cup and handles, whatever. But overall, what the structure is you want to see is a low and a higher low, a low and a higher low, just like you had in April. That's the bullish pattern you want to see, and I think you're going to see that, guys. I don't think you're sweeping these October lows. That has been my position. This whole rally up, I think there's much higher prices to come. And eventually, once we start getting up into this range, we're looking at 7,000, and then of course we have 7,500 was my upside target, which is up here. So I fully expect the S&P to end December, early January, be somewhere up in this quadrant towards 7,500. And once we have some more price movement, we'll have some more patterns. But the immediate need is to watch this, see where it finds resistance, see if it can hold that higher low and give us a pattern of higher lows here in the marketplace, looking at your breakout above 69.50, which, by the way, is 120 points away from where we are right now. So let's go ahead and move forward. We look at NQ. It's going to be the same exact thing, so I'm not going to draw it on everyone. But let's look at our all-time high. Pull it down. You're pushing up towards the 618. Eventually, you're going to find that resistance, right? Wave down price movement, wave up. It's all going to be about, can you hold that higher low and then break out, break your midpoint, and you'll be pushing up towards 27.5. Ultimately, 28.2 was the target here for NQ, which is your NASDAQ, right? So let's go ahead and, oh, by the way, see your 18 RMA? It's been your bullish trend line just like it was here all the way since the April lows, right? Look, the April lows was such an obvious cannon shot for a massive rally because of the contrarian nature that you need to be as a trader in this market. If you understand the bias in the market, you will understand how to trade against the bias, because everybody expected tariffs to be inflationary. It's going to destroy the economy. I told you tariffs are deflationary, and it's not going to destroy the economy. And sure enough, this is the strongest turnaround rally in stock market history where we are right now. So it's all going to depend on the wave up, wave down, this rebound wave. We're going to find resistance. That's almost a guaranteed. The question is, can we hold the higher low to break out in the fashion of a W pattern? That will be fantastic. It's too early. We're pushing towards a 618. We'll see. Most likely going to end up between a 618 and 786. Find that resistance. We'll see what kind of retracement we get to the upside. Overall, guys, very, very bullish here towards the end of the year. SPY, you're looking at the same format here. Wave down, sell off. Rebound wave back up. Going to see if this comes up a little bit more, and then you're going to get some selling pressure again. People that were trapped bulls that think the market's collapsing, and then you're looking at the move up. Market top call there was 700 back in Q4 of 2024, and of course 750, being this is a proxy along with the S&P futures. Obviously, if my target is 7,500 towards the end of the year into the first week of January, then 750 is where the SPY would be ending up as well. Overall, SPY came down right to the predetermined retracement point, strong bullish buying, and is pushing back up. So let's just look at this from a Fibonacci standpoint. We look at Fibonacci, pull it down. You're right at the 618 at 678. Let's go ahead and throw the 786 on here. Let's throw that right here. 786 is 683. So again, most likely, price move wave down. Price moves in waves of 3. Wave down, see if you find resistance here, see if you get any selling pressure at all, and then watch for that reflexive rebound back up, taking out the midpoint, ultimately the all-time high, and you're moving up from there, okay? That's the spider. Same thing on the Qs. You're going to see the same wave movements on all these. So let's just go ahead and grab the fib. So I have to go through each of them. All-time high down, you're almost at the 618, 622, price is 621 and a half. The market's been open for just about an hour, and ultimately you're going to do the same thing. So you have resistance, or you sell off, resistance at the 618 between 622 and 628 at the 786 may cause some selling, some backfilling, and then you're looking for that move up because ultimately low, higher low. And right here, by the way, is where the bearish people are going to turn even more bearish. See, told you it's crashing. As long as it holds that higher low, guys, it's a very bullish uptrend with much higher prices coming here towards the end of the year in the Santa squeeze. So overall, guys, I had 679 as my next target going up here on the Qs where we're going to be rallying to. And as we form a pattern like some type of W like I just drew for you, we'll be able to get some closer level targets too to look for those resistance points. But you want to hold your higher lows if possible. So you want to stay above that 598. You're at 621. Let's go ahead and look at the Russell. The Russell, again, a great proxy for Bitcoin as well, by the way. But Russell, you can see your patterns just being made over and over again. So you have your W patterns on your Russell, right? Just like Bitcoin got before a big sell-off. But you have your W patterns there, and you have your low established at 2381. You're at 2460. You have this high fractal over here at 2510. So you're really literally mid. So Russell being beta, overall what you're doing is you're chopping sideways in a spiraling market, and eventually you're going to make a pattern, something like a series of higher lows, and you're going to be looking for a breakout from that pattern to the upside. Or if you're bearish, you'll be looking for a breakdown to the downside. But if we just pull these fibs, look at this high low, you got the Russell up here at 2677 once you start making progress, if you can continue to hold these lows, right? So again, you're going to see this price move. Russell comes up, maybe it gets to the 618 at 2500, 2510, where it's been finding resistance. You're going to get some selling pressure. Hold that line, hold the higher low. Look for your breakout back to the upside. Again, this time of year can take a couple of weeks with some churn in the markets, with some selling in the markets. There's a lot of doubters in the market. Hence, that's why you're seeing the fear index the way it is. But overall, you're looking at the patterns as a trader to see the upward momentum continue, okay? Let's look at Apple real quick. We'll just go through the overbought 8. Apple's pushing right near its all-time high, right? All-time high right there, 277, you're at 272. Apple has support down here in the 260s as well. If this was to roll down and do something like this and look for support, And overall, you're just looking for Apple to base, and it's basing at a very high level right now before the next leg. You look at Microsoft, where did it fall? Fell right to that support, that 492 area. And again, just a little bit of a bounce right here. But overall, what's the overall structure? You have Microsoft holding support, has a clear line of resistance. At some point, it's going to bounce up, probably pull back, and you're going to look for these structures, some very basic TA structures of these fractal patterns that repeat over and over again. So you want to stay above 492, and you have clear resistance up here at these tops at 550. So you're at the bottom end of that range, and just watch how this develops, because I don't see mass selling occurring in Microsoft. NVIDIA, big gap back up after testing 179. It's 196 again. Most analysts on Wall Street have raised their targets, and you might say, well, who cares what the analysts say? Well, I mean, technically nobody cares what the analysts say, but you got to understand, Wall Street controls massive corporate funds. So it does matter from that perspective. Retail itself, typically prior to the pandemic, was 10 to 12% of the daily volume. And we've had many days now where we're 15 to 20+% of the daily volume. So retail is trading heavy. Overall flows are still controlled by Wall Street. So their stupid predictions and projections do matter because they control big flows. Again, you're seeing a big move up. 212 is your all-time high. You're at 196. Your support's down here at 179 and down here at 164. Strong levels of support. So NVIDIA looks good. Largest stock there in the world. If you look at Google, right near the all-time high, guys. I mean, again, consolidation. Even with all that selling, what did Google do? It went from 292 down to what, 275. It's right back here at 288, 289 again. So it's holding a higher level of consolidation. You have support for Google down here at 250, strong candle support, but it's not even in danger of threatening that right now. You look at Amazon, had the nice breakout from the channel. Amazon made a new all-time high at 258. It's 248, selling a little bit today, but still gapped up today. So Amazon looks healthy too. It won't really break down unless you get below 238. And even if it gets below 238, you got a lot of support between 238 and 228. Amazon, big money is bullish on it. You look at Tesla at 462, our beautiful W pattern, hit target perfectly at 462. When Tesla, which is at 444 right now, it's just doing a spiral, right? You have ups and downs. You can see the trend of higher lows. You can see the trend here. It's almost in a channel. When it can flip 462, watch 521. That's my next target on Tesla, and you'll see that in the Santa squeeze. Meta, this is the redheaded stepchild that got taken out to the woodshed, fell apart in the channel. People did not like their spending that they're doing, typical Zuckerberg thing. Where did it find support? Right at your fractal low right there. Just below it, 622, came down to the 618 at $600. Again, weak little bounce, but overall, I can tell you right now, with most money managers, 80% underperforming the market, they're going to look at Meta as a buy. And if you guys watch the business news, you'll start seeing them come on like, well, overall, this is a really good valuation for Meta. And this is a time, I'm buying here, Bob. This is something I like to see because, when I'm buying, I'm not holding just for a couple of weeks. I think a year or two from now, you're going to make a lot of money. This is how I have to rationalize things, right? Because they probably bought it up here and then it did that. And now they're like, oh, this is just an opportunity to add, right? Because they're doing so poorly. And typically they do poorly. Most of the time, more than 20 or 25% of Wall Street can't even beat the S&P. But just be aware of the sales pitches. But overall, that's what I'm saying. I expect Meta to recover to some extent because they can't resist it because they missed out on so many of the other Mag 7. If you look at Broadcom again, pushing right up to its all-time highs, 386, it's at 357. Broadcom gap came back down, found support at the 1618 at 322. Overall, made another new all-time high, came down, made a higher low. And you're seeing these patterns, and I'm telling you, with the Santa squeeze rally, unless these patterns reverse, they're going to break to the upside. You'll be looking at 435 on Broadcom when this thing breaks out again. Let's look at Hood real quick. I'll wrap this up. Went a little bit long. So Hood here on the 4-hour, you are on a sideways chop. Hood has had a magnificent run, but what is this? Again, accumulation coil. That's all it is. It's an accumulation coil. Hitting resistance, holding support, and now you're mid. So you just want to watch these patterns because at some point, you're going to get some type of pattern that comes up, pulls back, holds a higher low, then all of a sudden does this and starts doing this. and it starts breaking out, and you go just be able to look at it in trend, be like, oh, I should have seen that coming. And you marry that with the cycle, because when this breaks out above 152, I think you're going to 175, guys. That's the next target I have there. And then above that, you have 186. So if you have to see how these stocks respond. But the next week or so, again, the government's not even officially reopened yet. They have the votes. We'll see if everything gets passed without hiccups by this Friday. You're going to see all of this digested, and money managers, I believe, have to chase the market in the most seasonally bullish time of the year in the markets, which is the fall equinox to the spring equinox. And that's how this thing's going to play out. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Crypto video is out next. See you on the next one.